News. Federal government may sell TBS and IPPS 25 key assets to fund budget deficits. CBN AMCON sells Polaris Bank to SCIL. Italy's right-wing coalition meets president on forming government. And Aston Villa sacks GERRARD after Fulham defeat. This is the MLC TV News Hour, reaching you live from the city of Lokoja, the conflict state of Nigeria. I am Matthias Ayodeji Peter. KOGI State has commended the federal government for listing the state among the oil-producing states. The State Commissioner for Finance, Economic and Budget Planning, ASIWAJU made this commendation after a function at the Government House, Lokoja. He also appreciated Governor Yahaya Bello for ensuring the state's resources are channeled towards improving the state and the people. ASIWAJU said the additional oil money will only amount to building more infrastructure and to better the lives of the people.
I must congratulate the Governor Yahaya Bello for achieving this legacy this period. It is a big news that came to us. So as a state, we are to ensure that the economic climate, the investment climate of the state is conducive for investors to come and invest in the oil area. And at the same time, call on all the KOGI who are into the oil business to also partner with the state and bring in investors around the world.
The Commissioner for Finance said the government will not relent in its efforts to make the state the safest for investors.
We are just coming in to be a member of the oil-producing state. As a state and as head of economic team, what we are going to do more is to ensure that the environment, the oil-producing environment is more secure. Thank God the Governor Yahaya Bello has received many awards as the best governor when it comes to the security of the state. And I believe by the grace of God is going to still get more awards for that. KOGI State is safe. And what the KOGI State government is saying is, if I'm investing in the state, the community is very key. The community where you are doing business is key, and also the people of the state also is very key. So with this development in the oil sector, all has been solved by the petroleum PIB law about the community. It has been taken care of. What the state to benefit has been taken care of. So what we are going to do as a state is going to continue to give necessary infrastructure that can support investment in that area. This one is going to be a boost in that respect to ensure that we'll be able to do more for the benefit of the good people of the state.
On the flood that has ravaged the people of some local government areas in KOGI, ASIWAJU said it's already been captured in the next budget to build dams in areas most affected as a lasting solution to flood disasters which the state experiences annually.
We need to continue to do as a state is continue to plan ahead. I must tell you that you can see the effort the government made in having that embankment. Now we need to also move ahead to ensure we have dike where necessary. But all those are temporary solutions, ensuring that there is proper channelization. These are temporary solutions. The best and lasting solution is what the government is doing by ensuring that we have at least 2 dams across River Niger in Benin. Likely maybe one in around Lokoja 2, another one around Bassa. There is a lot of achievement the government has made in that regard. That will be a lasting solution by the time we begin to have that, because the problem will be solved. No fully that we have issue of climate change, and it will continue. So it will come with a lasting solution. The state government is doing a lot as regards ameliorating the effect, and also to make sure that the budget process is ongoing. Some fund has been allocated for that, but the major aspect of it is to have a lasting solution where what we know is causing it can be addressed.
He called the people of the state to partner with the state government to grow the state's economy together by ensuring investors come into the state in their numbers. He concluded by assuring the oil-producing host community gets adequate attention and support from the government. Amidst Nigeria's fiscal crisis, the federal government is compiling the list of assets that will be either sold or concessioned to fund the 2023 budget deficit of 10.7 trillion naira. Sources at the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning said that the government was considering selling or concessioning the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos, as well as the National Integrated Power Project in Olorunshogo, Calabar 2, Benin, located at Ihobo, Omotosho 2 and Gerigo 2 plants. The government is also planning to sell or concession all the hydropower plants across the country, including Oyon, Lower Usama, Katsina Ala and Giri plants. More than 25 of such projects will be turned into active assets that will be generating money in some ways to the federal government. Some of them will be offered to investors for equity, while others will be totally sold to reduce waste. The government is also eyeing revenue from Calabar and Kano free zones as well as Abuja Water Board, Aluminium Shimeta Company of Nigeria, National Film Corporation, National Theatre and Lagos International Trade Fair. The government is also planning to relinquish the ownership of some of the basin authority and hand them over to the private sector to manage. Some of the government ministries such as the Postal Service will be concessioned or entirely sold to the private sector to enable them compete effectively with other privately managed logistics firms. It was also gathered that the federal government was seeking ways of enhancing the value of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation by listing it in the stock market to raise capital, as was done the case with Saudi Aramco. The Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria has declared that its members will not be intimidated or blackmailed by anyone irrespective of their position. This was in reaction to a statement credited to the Deputy Senate President and Chairman of the Constitution Review Committee, Ovie Omoagegi, who blamed the 36 state governors for being behind the non-passage of the 44 Constitution Review bills transmitted to them by the National Assembly. He described the action by the state assemblies as the hand of Esau and voice of Jacob, saying state governors were behind the actions of the speakers. But in a statement he personally signed, which was sent to journalists by his spokesperson Abdul Bura on Thursday, the chairman of the Speakers Forum, Abubakar Suleiman, said a rejoinder of the claims made by the Deputy Senate President would have been unnecessary. He, however, said it became necessary to react to it in view of the fact that it was with the intention of blackmailing or undermining the state houses of assembly and with the aim of misleading the public. He vowed that they would not be cowed or intimidated by anyone, declaring that they would remain firm in the discharge of their constitutional duties. The Lagos State chapter of the Occupational Safety and Health Association, Nigeria, organized a workshop and induction of new members. The workshop and induction took place at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Alausa, Ikeja. The event was well attended by stakeholders, government officials, security personnel, and traditional rulers. Let's join our reporter for more.
In his opening remarks, the Lagos State Chairman of OSHA Association, UK, Nigeria, Engineer Laolu Oguntuyi, said the purpose of the workshop is to find ways to reduce injuries, illness, and death on the job, and urged for new way of safety at places of work, and that the organization is planning on forming partnership with diverse groups.
Preventing and reducing the incidence of fatalities and injuries requires everyone engaged in working life to place their personal safety, health, and environment, and that of fellow workers actively at the center of their thinking and organizational culture. Poor practice and standards will be challenged through the combined and mutual effort of workers and employers to build a culture of prevention. Prevention must be our primary focus because the only acceptable injury and fatality rate is zero. Health and safety is everyone's business. We must always remember that injuries at work are not inevitable, but they are avoidable. On that note, OSHA is ready to partner with Lagos State government, especially the SCIL with the 17 goals.
The special advisor to the governor of Lagos State on sustainable development goals and investments, Sholape Hammond, advised that togetherness is key and also gave statistics on occupational accidents and death.
The United Nations Global Compact report indicates that every year an estimated 2.7 million workers die from occupational accidents and work-related diseases, while an additional 374 million workers suffer from non-fatal occupational accidents. The work that we did showed the importance of systems that can build capacity, which can today still be leveraged for future emergencies to protect workers' safety and health. So for us, it's not just to celebrate the past, but to look at it as a legacy that we can build on for the future. Inclusive and sustainable economic growth is not only linked to the number of economically active people and the economic output, but also the conditions under which they work. And so for us, we see this work that we do as fundamental. It's fundamental from a safety perspective, but it's also fundamental from the way it creates opportunities. If we can keep more people safe in the work that they do and help to improve the conditions under which they work, we will increase economic prosperity.
Adejo urged workers to involve scientific information in occupational safety and health balance. He also mentioned reason for the ban on Okada during his tenure as Commissioner of Transport, Lagos State.
We must engage occupational safety and health partners with scientific information. It is not that when everybody, this is what we have, this is what we have. It's not done. It's never done. Our PRS, planning, research, and statistics must be powerfully strong and reinforced. Or else, we don't be talking grammar. When the issue of Okada to be banned, they came to me and I told them, Excellency, facts will speak for itself. You are always talking of security, security, security. Go to Ministry of Health. Let them bring out people that have been injured, that legs have been broken. That was how you are involved. And I told them that go and do what we call socio-economic cost of that injury. If you know the socio-economic cost of that injury, you will know that it is important to work on how to engage Okada issue.
Participants were inducted and awards given during the event. Ayomide Dada, reporting for MLC TV, Lagos.
The Central Bank of Nigeria and the Asset Management Company of Nigeria, AMCON, have officially announced the completion of a share purchase agreement for the acquisition of 100% of the equity in Polaris Bank by Strategic Capital Investment Limited. This is contained in a statement by CBN's Director of Corporate Communications, Osita Nwanisobi, on Thursday, noting that the new core investor in the bank is Strategic Capital Investment Limited, disclosing that the deal was sealed with SCIL by the CBN and Asset Management Company of Nigeria. Polaris has been operating as a bridge bank since 2018, with the Central Bank of Nigeria intervened to revoke the license of the former Sky Bank PLC and establish Polaris Bank to assume its assets and certain liabilities. Commenting on the transaction, the governor of CBN, Godwin Emefiele, said these sales mark the completion of a landmark intervention in a strategic institution in the Nigerian banking sector by the CBN and AMCON. The House of Representatives had on Wednesday okayed the sale of Polaris Bank, noting that the acquisition followed the laid-down procedure and the relevant residential approval. A group of international civil society organizations under the aegis of Action Aid Nigeria has called on the federal and affected state governments to declare a state of emergency in view of the flood crisis across the country. In a joint statement made available to the press on Thursday, the group said it was time for governments at all levels to find sustainable ways to curb the perennial floods and the resultant effects in affected states of the country. The group added that the flood situation also raised concern that 19.4 million Nigerians across 21 states and the FCT could suffer a resultant food crisis as from August 2022, whilst the World Bank has also predicted 95.1 million people hitting the poverty line by the end of the year. The NGOs consequently called for a declaration of state of emergency in affected states, a launch of life-saving measures and rescue efforts in communities where persons were trapped, and a promotion of awareness, sanitation and preventive measures to curb the possible outbreak of waterborne diseases like cholera. They further recommended an introduction or adaptation of community surveillance and early warning system on flood prevention and mitigation to prepare for hazardous climate-relevant events, as well as the establishment of proper water channels to avoid blocking waterways and ultimately encouraging river dredging in the relevant states. The joint statement was signed by Ene Obi, Country Director, Action Aid Nigeria, Hussaini Abdul, Country Director, Care International, and Use Emamuzo, Country Director, Plan International Nigeria, and Tokpe Fashola, Country Director, Christian Aid Nigeria. If you are just joining us, it's the MLC TV News Hour. We'll be right back after the short break. Please stay with us.
Get human interest stories right here on MLC TV with entertainment, sports, business, culture, tourism, and fashion news stories all featured on MLC TV. Not forgetting political and current affairs news, state and federal government and people's matters will be discussed regularly on MLC TV. MLC TV, your one-stop online destination for unbiased, accurate news, entrepreneur ideas, and youth matters to the rest of the world. MLC TV, reaching everywhere, informing everyone.
Welcome back. And now on politics. The Labour Party has suspended its national youth leader, Ansem Eragbe, for a period of 6 months, appointing Prince Kennedy in an acting capacity. A letter signed by LP National Chairman Julius Abure and National Secretary Umar Farouk Ibrahim, dated Tuesday, stated Ansem was suspended following allegations of misconduct. According to the party, the suspension is in accordance with its constitution as amended 2019. The relevant organs of the party will, within the period, meet to rectify the full recommendations of the disciplinary committee. Ansem is advised to surrender all parties' documents and materials in his possession. A separate letter addressed to Kennedy, titled Letter of Appointment as Acting National Youth Leader of the Labour Party, sequel to the suspension of the National Youth Leader. The relevant organs of the party will, within the period, meet to rectify full recommendations of the disciplinary committee. Ansem has been advised to surrender all parties' documents and materials in his possession. And now on foreign. A huge blaze has engulfed a train line and homes in Aguascalientes, central Mexico, after a fuel truck crashed. Dramatic video of the fire went viral on social media, including area shots of black smoke blanketing a large area of the city. One video showed a cargo train hustling through flames. Mexico El Universal website says more than 1,500 people were evacuated. Some homes and cars were gutted by fire. There are no reports of deaths, but several people were taken to the hospital. Police have detained the truck driver. It is not clear exactly how the crash happened. Initial reports said the truck had collided with a train, but Reuters news agency now says the truck hit an overpass. State oil firm Pemex has denied owning the truck and says it is helping to contain the fire. Some 200 firefighters are trying to contain the blaze, El Universal reports. Italy's far-right leader, Giorgia Meloni, and her coalition allies hold stock on forming a government on Friday with President Sergio Mattarella. If the parties agree terms, a Meloni-led coalition could be sworn in this weekend, a month after elections. Veteran ex-Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi is set to join the talks, despite shaking the coalition's unity with leaked pro-Putin remarks. Meloni vows to play a key part in NATO, the Western military alliance. She said Italy, with them in government, will never be the weak link in the West, in an attempt to calm concerns about her future foreign policy. She said anyone who disagrees with this cornerstone will not be able to be part of the government at the cost of not forming a government. Outgoing Prime Minister Mario Draghi, who is in Brussels for EU summit, also stressed that Italy's membership of the EU and the NATO was at the heart of its foreign policy. It is now seen as almost a formality that his successor will be asked to form a government as early as Friday afternoon, despite the role surrounding the 86-year-old Berlusconi leader of central-right Forza Italia. And on sports. Steven Gerrard was sacked as Aston Villa manager less than 2 hours after his struggling side crashed to a dismayed 3-0 defeat at Fulham on Thursday. Gerrard paid the price for Villa's wretched start to the season, which sees the club languishing just one place above the Premier League relegation zone. Villa have won only 2 of their 11 league matches this term, and their term surrender at Craven Cottage proved the final straw for the club's hierarchy as they axed Gerrard after just 11 months in charge. Gerrard and his players had been booed off at a full time by Villa's furious fans after the loss at Fulham extended their winless run to 4 matches. Gerrard led Villa to a 14th place finish last term after arriving from Rangers to replace the sacked Dean Smith last November on a 3.5-year contract. The former Liverpool and England star was expected to push Villa higher up the table this season, but instead he lives with the club firmly embroiled in a relegation battle. Gerrard won the Scottish title with Rangers in 2021, ending Celtic's long period of dominance, but he has been unable to build on that impressive work since moving to Villa Park, failing to win over the club's supporters with some lackluster performances. Former two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua is believed to have pushed back his return to the ring until early 2023 instead of this December, as was originally reported. The former WBA, WBO, IBO and IBF heavyweight champion was being targeted at a return on December 17 in London, with Otto Wallin and Chris Arreola both mentioned as possible opponents. The British Nigerian suffered a second bruising defeat to Alexandre Usyk in August, failing to reclaim the IBF, WBO and WBA titles he lost to the Ukrainian in London last year. Joshua was determined to return before the end of the year, with his promoter Eddie Hearn targeting an opponent among the top 15 ranked boxers for the Olympian. And on entertainment news, it was gathered that a man from Brazil has set the Guinness World Record for the 4th eyeball pop male category. Sidney Del Carvalho Mesquita, Brazil, also known as Tio Chico, impressed everyone with his eye-popping talent. According to a press release by Guinness World Records, Chico's eyes can pop out to a protrusion of 18.2 mm beyond his eye sockets. He made the record on January 10, 2022. He discovered his talent at the age of 9, and since then he has been showcasing his exceptional skills. He realized while making silly faces in front of a mirror. He told Guinness World Records that he realized his eyes could pop out much further than his peers. He showed his talent to his friends and families, and they were impressed. He shared that initially his parents were concerned that he might be suffering from a disease, but fortunately it was just an exceptional skill. Chico's ophthalmologist has said it is a rare gift that he possesses. The pop was measured by a device known as promptometer. My skill is definitely a gift. It came from my father, my mother and the creator too, he told Guinness World Record. He did not undergo any training for this, he was born with it, and over the years he has sharpened his abilities. Describing the feeling of popping out his eyeballs, Chico says it feels like letting go of some parts of his body. He revealed that he loses his vision for a few seconds whenever he pops out his eyeballs. Chico can pop his eyeballs for 20 to 30 seconds. He takes care of his eyes by using eye drops. On achieving a Guinness World Records title, he commented that he has no words to describe his happiness. He added, "A dream come true means opening doors for his work to be even more recognized, and he hoped that he makes the most of this great opportunity as part of the Guinness World Records family." Crossing over to Africa, the organizers of the African Movie Academy Awards, AMA, have announced big plans for week-long activities for its 18th edition this October. Confirming the awards plan, Director of Media Tope Ajayi announced that the forthcoming ceremony will begin with events leading to the gala night at the bespoke Jewel Aida Hall in Lekki, Lagos. The Director for Media further rolled out the activities scheduled for the event, saying the 18th edition of the Continental Awards ceremony will begin with the graduation of trainees by the African Film Academy on October 25, 2022. The graduation ceremony will be followed by the Wellness Day on October 27, 2022, while October 28, 2022 will host dignitaries and fashion buff to a series of conferences that includes diaspora discussion, music and film discussion, and round off with a fashion show. A nominees party is expected to follow on Saturday, October 29, 2022, while the AMA Gala will hold Jewel Aida Hall on October 30, 2022. Speaking at the award ceremony, filmmaker Bolanle Austin Peters, whose film Man of God got over 5 nominations, including the Best Director, Best Actor and Best Actress categories, described the AMAs as a rewarding platform needed to encourage burgeoning filmmakers in Africa. Some of the dignitaries expected to grace the occasion include the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and the Commissioner for Culture, Arts and Tourism, Uzamat Akimbile Yusuf. And that's the size of our package today. Join us tomorrow at the same hour to watch our news as we give you updates on happenings within and across the globe. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Malachi TV. Like and follow our Facebook page, MLC TV, Instagram, MLC TV 2021, Twitter at MLC TV1. For your event coverage, information, contribution, adverts and sponsorship, please call any of our numbers displayed on your screen. Join us Friday and Saturday to watch our special programs. It's Malachi TV, reaching everywhere, informing everyone. I am Matthias Ayodeji Peter. Please continue to be your brother's keeper to build a united and peaceful society together. Thanks and have a lovely weekend.